So, we're going to talk about focus in labor. And I know that when people are anticipating labor and maybe experiencing some anxiety, the idea of being focused seems a little bit far fetched, but bear with me. So, one of the things that is really important and we're going to practice through class is focusing on your breathing. And it's important to remember that contractions only last about 60 to 90 seconds, even when you're in transition and active labor. And so, it's a relatively short period of time. And you are able to focus on a particular pattern or a particular action throughout labor. And we'll practice some of those. One of the things that we can do to help us focus our breathing during labor is to focus on a particular pattern. And we talk about things like circular breathing or inhaling for a count and exhaling for a count. We also talk about visualization and picturing different things throughout the breathing or throughout the contraction that you can focus on. So one of those things, a very popular one in birth, is the waves. And as your contraction builds, you focus on the inhaling and the wave is coming in, and as the contraction starts to ebb, you are focusing on exhaling, and that is the wave leaving. So, being able to focus on something throughout the contraction. If breathing isn't working for you, there are other things that you can try. Sometimes the support of our partners in labor is one of the most important things that we can focus on. And touch and massage is going to help in a couple of ways. It's going to get the oxytocin flowing because this is someone you care about, this is someone you love. And so that skin to skin that's really beneficial for baby after baby's born is also going to help you in labor because it's facilitating that hormone. And so partners, one of the things you can do is if you pay attention to the breathing during the contraction, you can be giving a really nice firm touch. This isn't a good time for sort of light doing, labor doodles on your partner's back. This is a good time for a really strong firm touch. So one of the things you can try is on her inhale, walking your hand up her arm or her back, and on her exhale, walking your hand down her arm or her back. And keep that pattern going. So every inhale you're going up, and every exhale you're going down. And that's just giving her something to focus on in addition to her breathing that can really anchor her throughout her contraction. Another thing you can do is just gently pressing down on her shoulders. And again, that's giving her that really good foundation and something to focus on in terms of a feeling, a physical sensation, but it's also helping her to keep her shoulders relaxed and her body calm throughout the contraction. You can also try picking a spot to focus on, and this can be really effective, particularly for people who maybe have a history of dance, and it's very similar to sort of spotting in that sense. But I strongly recommend you not focus on the clock as your spot. That is a bit counterproductive because you get focused on the time rather than focusing on what's happening in your body. One of the other things that you can do is to focus on something rhythmic. And this is something that for people who really like to move or for whom being still during a contraction isn't working. So this can look like rocking, and particularly if you're on a birth ball, if you are laboring on the toilet, or if you're on all fours in bed, rocking back and forth or swaying your hips side to side in a rhythmic fashion can really give you something to focus on that's movement related. Another thing that you can focus on that's rhythmic is something a little bit smaller. Sometimes being still in the majority of your body is really helpful, but you need something to let out the energy of the contraction. So something like tapping your fingers or tapping the bed in a rhythmic fashion, almost like beating a drum, can be very helpful for people during labor, and specifically as they move through active labor and into transition. That's a time when all of the energy of the contraction is building up and you need an outlet for it. And so having something to focus on that isn't keeping you still and keeping your entire body in one spot, but is allowing that energy to come out through your body in a productive manner, can be very helpful for a focal point in labor.